So, Hare Krishna, thank you everyone for joining for Sunday Love Fish program. So, after this wonderful kirtan, now we will have class by His Grace Sanatan Govind Prabhu. So, we would welcome Sanatan Govind Prabhu by chanting one time Hare Krishna together. So, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai स्वामी प्रभुपाद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से गौर श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्तवृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Krishne Matirastu Hare Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So today we are going to discuss Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita. So we maybe we all can chant this together. I'll say and we all can say together. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Laulyam Api Ekalam Mulyam Janma Koti Sukritir Na Labhyate. So today is July 13th, 2025, and exactly 59 years back, there was this incorporation of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So It's a very auspicious day in that sense, wherein it is really a very great fortune. Nrideham adyam sulabham sudurlabham. It is said by Krishna to Uddhava in Uddhava Gita. Krishna says that this human form of life, Nrideha, this is a human form of life, Adyam, we are getting it, like we are in the human form of life at the moment. Sulabham, because we are in the human form of life, it is with us at the moment. So it is easily there at the moment with us. But it is Sudurlabham. Durlabha means rare. Sudurlabha means extremely rare. So this human form of life is extremely rare. Erube Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Ji. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is since time immemorial, we don't know when, we have been continuously taking birth after birth. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. Srila Shankaracharya mentions in Bhajagovindam. Continuously taking birth, continuously dying, continuously in the womb of one mother and another mother. So, this is not our original nature. Our original nature is na jayate mriyate va kadache. Never were we born. And because we were never born, we will never die. When there is birth, there is death. But if there is no birth, there is no death. So, our original existence is that we never are born. So therefore we will never die. So this message, we are really fortunate that in this city of Dublin, in Republic of Ireland, a small island of how much? Around 7 million, for example, the population. And we are all here together in this city of Dublin, in this place where we are talking about our original consciousness. It is very rare. How did this rare situation got accomplished? This was because Srila Prabhupada, who was at the age of 69, he traveled from Kolkata in Jaladuta. That was August 13th, 1965. He traveled, and he traveled in a cargo ship, Somati Morarji. She was actually telling to Srila Prabhupada that you are so old, why do you want to take this risk? What are you going to achieve at this age? 69 years of age. But the conviction of Srila Prabhupada was so much that this is what is Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chittete Kariya Ekya. Arana Kariho Mane Asha. This is mentioned in the prayer that we do, Guru Vandana. This is what Srila Prabhupada was a 100% example of. So, when Srila Prabhupada met his Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was saying that if you have money, print some books. So this printing of books is the foundation of the incorporation of ISKCON. So there are 7 different purposes of ISKCON. That Srila Prabhupada, when he created ISKCON, when this was incorporated 59 years back in 1966, New York, East Manhattan, 26 2nd Avenue. So when Srila Prabhupada reached, before reaching, when he was in the Jaladuta, he had a couple of heart attacks. And then the journey was 35 days. So it was 17th September that when he reached. All those time in the ship, he actually wrote the Marka in Bhagavata Dharma. He was saying that, oh Krishna, you do whatever you want to do with me. I am your puppet. So this is the situation, even in our own existence in this material world, we can either be directly controlled by Krishna, or we can be controlled by his material energy. Devi Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that this Maya, this my material energy is Devi Hesha. It is divine, it is transcendental, and it is Gunamayi. Tribher Gunamayer Bhaver Ebi Sarvamidam Jagat Mohitam Na Janati Mamebhya Paramavaya. So, when we have this material body, we are under the influence of the three modes of material nature. The mode of goodness, Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam, Rajasa Lobham Evacha, Pramada Moho Tamaso, Bhavato Ajnanam Evacha. It is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. When we are in mode of goodness, we are having the interest to understand our original nature. When we are in mode of passion, Rajasam Lobham Evacha. It is greed. So basically, when in the mode of passion, the only thing that we are thinking of is this body. So unfortunately, Yaya Sammohito Jivo Atmanam Trigunatmakam. Paropi Manute Anartham Tatkritam Cha Vipadyate. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, as I said, we are eternal. We are never born, and because we are never born, we will never die. But Sammohito Jivo. Samyak Rupena Mohita. Mohita means enamored. So Mohitam Nabi Janati. So when we are enamored, so what is happening is we have got this Mana Buddhi and Ahankar, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, which is a subtle body. And then there is Bhumir Apa Anala Vayu Kham. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. So the material body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and space. So what happens once I die? What will happen to my body? The earth part will become earth, water part will become water, fire part will become fire. So this is what the body is. The body, external body, is a combination of those 5 elements. But we have the subtle body, the gross body and the subtle body. The subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So what is happening is the mind is capturing every moment of our experience. So each and every moment is getting captured in the mind. And that is what is leading us to the next life. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam ivaiti konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that tyajati ante kalevaram. At the time of death, whatever we are thinking of at the time of death, that we are becoming in the next life. Sada tad bhava bhavita. Why we get that particular thought at the time of death? Krishna tvadiya padapangaja panjarandam adyaiva me vishatu manasa raja hamsa prana prayana samaye kaphavata pittai kantavarodana vidhau smaranam kutaste. Very beautiful prayer, Mukunda Mala Stotra, Kulashekara Alvar. So he is saying that, O Krishna, Krishna tvadiya padapangaja panjarandam. So let the swan of my mind get entangled in the stems of your lotus feet. So what does the swan do? The swan, one of the pastimes of the swan, one of the things that the swan does when it's playing is it plays with the lotus stems. So Kulashekara Alvar is praying to Krishna that when the swan is playing like that with the lotus, the stems of the lotus, it can sometimes get entangled and it cannot come out. So what a beautiful metaphor Kulashekara Alvar is giving here. So he says that let my mind become entangled in your lotus feet, just like the swan gets entangled in the stems. Why? Prana prayana samaye kaphavata pittai. At the time of death, we don't know when is our last moment. No one knows. No one knows what way one is going to pass away. But if the mind has got entangled at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is no doubt that one will remember Krishna at the time of death. Anta kale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati sa mad bhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that at the time of death, anta kale cha mam eva, someone who remembers me alone, smaran muktva. Shri Shri Panchatattva ki jai. So smaran muktva. So when we are remembering Krishna at the time of giving up this body, kalevaram, yah prayati sa mad bhava. It is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita that when prayati, when one is giving up this body, mad bhavam, one attains my nature. Yati nasti atra samshaya. There is not even an iota of doubt that one will attain Krishna's nature. So this is the beauty of the movement that Srila Prabhupada has created, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And let's understand the 7 aims of the 7 purposes of the creation of ISKCON. Because when this society was incorporated 59 years back in New York by Srila Prabhupada, and he had some of the people who were really interested in his philosophy. So they actually cooperated with him. There was a lawyer as well. So let us try and understand what are these 7 different purposes of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So the first purpose is that the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that is like the whole everything. If you look at it as a circle, right? So this first point is like the circle. Everything is coming under this circle. The circle is that Krishna consciousness needs to be propagated across the world. And that is why the name is International Society. So it is across all the countries, and it is a society. So what does a society mean? A society, like, so there can be a society of crows, and then there can be a society of swans. So the society of crows, unfortunately, is going to take filthy things. Society of swan is playing with the lotus. So this is what, in terms of there are different types of living entities in this material world. We have some living entities are more in the mode of goodness. So if you are more in mode of goodness, we have this inclination to hear about Krishna. Krishna. So this is Krishna Katha. So whatever Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, whatever is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the second purpose. So the first purpose is prachar. If you want to say in Sanskrit, prachar means the propagation of Krishna consciousness. The second purpose is understanding Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the second purpose. That means if we want to, so basically, if we are not ourselves absorbed in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, what are we going to talk about? So this is what Amar Agya Guru Haya Tare Ei Desh. Krishna says, Yare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. So it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said that whoever we are meeting, of course, depending on what their position is, talk about Krishna to them. So Srila Prabhupada, actually, there is one of the stories where he appreciates a very small girl, Saraswati, her name is, and he says that person does not need to be a very wise or very scholarly person to talk about Krishna. And he gives the example of that small girl Saraswati, and what she just goes to everyone and she just says, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very simple. And that itself, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ete chamsha kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indraari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So in Bhagavatam, all the incarnations of the Supreme Person is mentioned. And in the end, it is mentioned that Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yadyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is known in 3 different phases. The first phase is Brahman, the second is Paramatma, and the third is Bhagavan. Brahman is when we understand that we are an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kamshati Samah Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Para. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. What happens when we know that I am never born and I will never die? What will happen? We will become totally blissful. Why will we become totally blissful? Because in the current situation, the problem is that there is only one thought that happens. The mind is constantly talking to us, right? Constant chatter of the mind. And what is that chatter all about? The chatter is about the body. How I keep my body nice, how I keep. It does not mean that we don't take care of the body. We take care of the body, we do everything that is needed to lead a nice life. But the important thing is, one should not forget that we are all eternal. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. Ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that na jayate. Krishna tells to Arjuna that natva eva ham jatu nasam natvam nene janadipa na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vaya atah param. So when Arjuna is fighting with his Kauravas on the other side, Krishna says that there was never a time when all these kings did not exist. There is never a time when I and you did not exist, Arjuna. And there is never a time in future when we will cease to exist. Sarve vayaha ataha param. So this is the transcendental knowledge. So this is the beginning of spiritual life. That is why the consciousness part in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Consciousness comes in the end. But consciousness is the most important thing here. Understanding that we are all conscious entities, conscious living entities. So what is it that is missing when I die? My body is still there. If I die at this moment, my body will still be there. But what is it that is missing between me as a living person and me as a dead person? That is what we have to understand. If we understand that, that is the beginning of spiritual life. Mam cha yo avya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Krishna says, how do we reach that stage of understanding that I am pure consciousness and this body is like an instrument that I have? How do we? Mam cha yo avya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Krishna says, avya vicharani bhakti. Avya vicharani means unadulterated, pure devotional service. Initially what happens is, I am very strongly thinking that I am this body. Because I am thinking this body, whatever activities I do with an expectation of getting something back in return, so that I can keep my body nice, right? So the action of karma and action and reaction, right? This is what, even if you look at Newton, there is a law of action and reaction. Every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. That is Newtonian physics. Like even if you look at karma, the whole karma concept is such that if I do good things to others, I will get back good thing in return. If I harm others, harm will come to me either this moment or any moment in the future. So we are basically creating. That's why Krishna gives another example, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. This body is like a field. Just like a farmer, what do the farmer do? They have their crops, right? And they sow the field to get the crops. Exactly, Krishna gives the example that this body is like a field. And we ourselves, the actual us, are the knower of the field. So if we always are in that platform of knower, not the doer, because ahankara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha, yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, actually all the activities are being done by the modes of material nature. Like for example, now we are in mode of goodness. Because we are in mode of goodness, we have this inclination to hear about Krishna. After some time, we might be in mode of passion. So when we are in mode of passion, the inclination would be to sense gratification. We are just thinking from the perspective of body. When it is mode of passion. Mode of ignorance is also the same. In the mode of ignorance, one is totally lazy. One does not want to do anything. So this body is under the influence of the three modes of material nature. And this modes of material nature acts on the body, and that is how the body is acting. But we ourselves, as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, are never doing anything. Then what are we doing? We are constantly in relationship with Krishna. That is what we can understand. So coming back to the 7 purposes of ISKCON, the first purpose was prachar, right? The propagation of Krishna consciousness. So if you look at it as a circle, the second is understanding Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So that understanding is called pratipatti. We can use the word pratipatti in Sanskrit to understand it. Pratipatti means getting absorbed in this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we are absorbed in, when we have this pratipatti, we will have prapatti. Prapatti means surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, give up everything and just surrender unto me. That is prapatti. That is 100%. This is what Bali Maharaj did. So Bali Maharaj, his guru Shukracharya said that this Vamana is Vishnu. Vamana was a dwarf. Vishnu incarnated as a dwarf Brahmana. And he said that just give me 3 lands, 3 steps of land. So Bali Maharaj was grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So he's a pure devotee in that sense. So Shukracharya said that this is Vishnu. He has disguised himself as a dwarf Brahmana and he wants to take everything away from you. So don't agree to give him anything. But Bali Maharaj said, no, I want to give. So this is one of the lessons that teaches us that the material, if there is a material guru, their instruction can actually be given up. Because what happens then? So Shukracharya actually takes a form of bee and goes into the kamandalu of Bali Maharaj. And then it has to be pricked, and therefore Shukracharya has one of the eyes has gone, in terms of his one eye is blind. So because the feet has to be washed with kamandalu. Vamanadev just expands with 2 steps. He has the whole everything covered. Where should I place the 3rd step? Bali Maharaj says, please place this on my head. And that is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Sparanam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. That is the Atma Nivedanam. So there are 9 different ways of engaging in devotional service to Krishna. It starts with Shravanam. Shrunavatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantastoi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. When we are engaged in this activity of hearing about Krishna, that activity by itself is very pious. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Then Hridayantastoi Abhadrani Vidunoti. Whatever things are there which is not conducive for our eternal existence, everything gets taken away. Hridayantastoi Abhadrani Vidunoti, cleansed. Suhrit Satam. One becomes Suhrit. Suhrit means the best friend of everyone. Satam. Satam is when we are in the association of the devotees. So we come to the 3rd point. The 3rd point, so the first was the propagation of Krishna consciousness, which is prachar. The second was understanding Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is prapatti. So when we pratipatti leads to prapatti. When we are totally absorbed in scriptures, we can surrender onto Krishna because we have that knowledge. We are existing in that knowledge. Then the 3rd aspect, the 3rd part of the purpose of ISKCON, which is that one understands that everyone is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So that understanding comes when we have this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So that is Sangha, Prasanga. So we are all together. We are all, how we are together in that understanding of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the 3rd. And then what happens when we are all together? We can engage in, we can chant together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanam Tam Namami Harim Param. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is how the Srimad Bhagavatam ends. Srimad Bhagavatam ends by glorifying this Sankirtana Yajna. So when everyone is coming together, what is happening? This engagement in Sankirtana Yajna is happening. So what happens? There is prasar. There is prachar and prasar. What is the difference? Prachar was a generic propagation. Prasar means it is done even more intensely. When the intensity becomes even more, that is prasar. So when Sankirtan, when everyone, see, it's all logical, right? First you are having a generic understanding of the propagation. Shri Shri Panchatattva ki jai. So generic understanding of propagation. The second is detailed knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The third is engaging in everyone coming together on the understanding that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. The fourth is, because we are in that understanding, we are all engaging in Sankirtana Yajna, Prasad. Then what is needed? When everyone, when the congregation is increasing and everyone wants to purely engage in service of the Lord, what is needed? We need a place, temple. So that is the fifth. Because people are purely engaged in loving devotional service of Krishna. So that there needs to be a temple. And that temple is what? Mercy. The Lord himself is coming and giving his mercy. So that is prasad. The fifth is prasad. So we have prachar, we have pratipatti, we have the third is prasanga, the fourth is prasad, prachar and prasad, right? The difference. And then the fifth is prasad, which is the mercy of Krishna coming directly. And that is the fifth. Then the temple is there nicely. Some of the devotees, they have actually given up their material life. They are purely 100% involved in serving Krishna in the temple. So what are they showing? By doing that, what are they showing? They are showing simple living life. So that is the sixth one is prakritik jivan. When we are living a simple life, we are not complicated ourselves. What is the unfortunate nature of the material existence? Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktanam, Taya Pagrata Chetasam, Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Samatavana Vidiyate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, when someone is very much attached to Bhoga is sense gratification, and Aishwarya is the pompness of material existence. One is Dambha, one is proud, arrogant, one is showing off things. So that is Aishwarya. So when one is totally attached to this materialistic sense gratification and showing off things, Taya apaharata chetasam. Krishna says their actual intelligence has been taken away by the material energy of the Lord. Vyavasayatmika buddhir samadhona vidyate. For such a person, that one-pointed concentration in involving in devotional service of Krishna does not take place, unfortunately. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Bahushakahi anantasya buddhyo avyavasayina. What Krishna says, so vyavasay, if we looked at the word vyavasay, generally it means that occupation. Whatever one is doing, occupation, any occupation or any business that one is running. What happens when if one is a very sincere person, how does one engage in their occupational duty? They will engage with very sincere purpose, right? They will try to do everything very nicely. That is what Krishna is saying, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. So that's what is expected when we are engaging in Krishna consciousness. A very pure, direct devotional service to Krishna. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananya. So this concept of continuous remembrance of Krishna. Every moment. Every moment. How can one remember every moment Krishna? How? Because rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi surya. Krishna says, I am taste in the water. Or any drink that we drink. Immediately we can remember Krishna. Prabhasmi shashi surya. I am the light of the sun, the moon, even the electricity light of you. Immediately we can remember Krishna. Pranavas sarva vedeshu. If we look at Veda mantras, it starts with Omkara, Pranava, that is Omkara mantra. Omkara, anywhere Om we hear Krishna, you can immediately remember Krishna. Shabdam Khay, any kind of sound that happens in the ether, Krishna says, I am that. So any kind of sound, it does not matter. So that's how directly we are linking to Krishna. Every moment we can. That is what is Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha. Krishna says, someone who is constantly through their mind remembering me, Tasya Ham Sulabha Partha. Krishna says that I am very easily available to such a person. Why I am easily available? Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Because the person is constantly in that state of mind where one is remembering Krishna. So, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, whatever way one is approaching me, tam sateva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, I actually, it is very important to understand that word bhajamyaham. Bhaja means one is rendering loving devotional service. So this is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is saying that I am rendering service to that person. It's just an amazing. This is why Krishna is Karuna Sindhu. He is an ocean of mercy. He is the owner of everything. Sarva Loka Maheshwara. But he says Tam Sataiva Bhajamyaham. So this is the wonderful nature of Krishna. So we had discussed the sixth one was sorry, the Prakritik Jivan, right? So the sixth one was living simple life, and the last one, which is the foundation of ISKCON, the incorporation of ISKCON is Prakashan. That means publishing and printing books, because that is what was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instruction to Srila Prabhupada, that if you have some money, print books. So that is like the basis of the whole. So we looked at it as a circle, right? The circle was Prachar. Prachar was a whole circle, and Prakashan is the foundation of that circle. And within those two, Prachar and Prakashan, we have got all the other. So we had Pratipatti. The Pratipatti is the total absorption in understanding of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Then what did we say after that? Prasanga. Prasanga means everyone coming together on the understanding that we are all related to Krishna. We are all eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So when that happens, there is prasad. Everyone together engages in Sankirtana movement. When there is prasad, then what happens? Prasad. Because Krishna will come in the form of in the temple. He will shower his mercy, because this is what is the nature of the Lord. The nature of the Lord is such that depending on the intensity of devotion of the devotee, Bhavad Bhida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Mahavibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabrita. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a discussion between Vedura and Maitreya Muni in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So one of the things that is mentioned, Maitreya Muni mentions to Vidura is that Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabrita. Because you are constantly in touch with Krishna in your heart, wherever you are, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. So that is Srila Prabhupada. So he traveled, as we said, 34 days, and then 11 months he had to, if we look at it from the August 13th, 1965 to 13th July 1966. Today is 13th July 2025, 59 years passed. That was 11 months. The 11 months he was constantly in that one pointed direction of having this creation of this ISKCON. And on that 11th month, he incorporated ISKCON with the 7 purposes that we have for ISKCON. Then 11 years, 1966 to 1977, the whole world, when Prabhupada actually gave that International Society for Krishna Consciousness, that was a very kind of poor section of New York, East Manhattan, where there were hippies and drug addicts and all those people. It was a small storefront, and he said International Society for Krishna Consciousness from that small storefront. that is his conviction, right? So, and in that conviction, just the whole everywhere, the Yare Dekho Tare Ko. So this is where it is mentioned, Amar Agya Guru Haya Tare Desh, this Prithivite Acheyate Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Prachar Hode Mera Naam. What Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. And Srila Prabhupada is considered as the Senapati Bhakta. Lochan Das Thakur said in Chaitanya Bhagavata. He said that there is a commander in chief who will come and who will be propagating this Krishna consciousness movement over the whole world. And that is what we are such a such a grateful kind of position, that we have this this human form of life. First of all, this human form of life itself is very rare. Having this human form of life, we are now understanding what is Krishna consciousness. It is even more rare. Manushyanam sahasreshu kasyid yatati siddhayet yatatam abhi siddhanam kasyid mam meti tattvata. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. There are billions and billions of people in this earth planet, if you want to see. Very few among them try to attain perfection. Siddhi, perfection. What does Siddhi mean? Siddhi means not showing those supernatural power. Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Prapti, Prakamya. There are Ashta Siddhi. Hanumanji had Ashta Siddhi. But he was always using those Siddhis for serving Sri Ram. It was not for his own personal purpose. This is what real Siddhi is. Because what can happen is when one becomes more and more devoted to Krishna, one can have those wonderful powers. But that is where the real test happens. The real test then happens is, how are these powers going to be used? Is it then going to be used for, this is what, Atmendriya Preeti Vanche, Thare Bole Kam, Krishnendriya Preeti Vanche, Dhare Prem Naam. It is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When we are trying to satisfy our own senses, that is sense gratification. But when we are satisfying Krishna's senses, that is what is pure love. The pure love is something that is very rare. It is not. That is what we can again say. Why did we take Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita? Because the Krishna consciousness movement is based on Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita. So let's chant that prayer again. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mate Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Laulyam Api Ekalam Mulyam Janma Koti Sukritir Na Labhyate. So this is a very beautiful prayer by Srila Rupa Goswami. He is saying that this love for Krishna, if it is available somewhere, I'll go and buy it. If there is any shop that is selling Krishna Prema, I'll go and I'll buy it. But if you want to buy something, we have to pay money or something, right? Or earlier there was this barter system when we did not have money. So I will give you something that I have, and you give me back something in return that you have. Right? Before money came into existence, we had barter system. So this is what. So Srila Rupa Goswami says that Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Rasa Bhavita means it's full of divine mellows. That is our original existence. It is not this Achit, Asat, Achit, Nirananda. That is what is body. Body, constantly it is changing. Body does not have consciousness by itself. And body does not have any bliss by itself. But I am Satchidananda. Just like Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. He is eternally existing, he is eternally conscious, and he is eternally blissful. We are all part and parcels of Krishna. We also have that in minute quantity. So that is what, that is Rasa Bhavita Mati. Our original existence is full of that divine mellow. So Rupa Goswami says that I'll go and buy. But what is the cost? What is the price I have to pay? Laulyam. Laulyam is greed. So just like when I'm attached to this body, I've got this greed to keep on attaining things for this body. This is what is Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktana. I'm attached to bhoga, sense gratification, and aishwarya. This arrogance, show off, and things like that. But the same greed, if it is applied to Krishna, that is laulyam. That means one is constantly hankering to remember Krishna. That is laulya. Always, this is what is smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyam na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedasyor etayor eva kinkara yena tena prakarena mana krishne veshe sarve vidhi nishedasyor etayor eva kinkara. Some way or the other fix the mind on Krishna. That is the main goal. It is every other rule and regulation is subservient to this main rule. That some way or the other we fix our mind on Krishna, and that is what is laulya. That always the mind is constantly there is this. The gopis are the best example. The gopis were housewives. They had their own responsibilities. They had to look after their family, their husband, their children. But always in the back of their mind, they were thinking, what is Krishna doing now? What is Krishna doing now? Whenever they are meeting another gopi, they're talking about Krishna. This is what is the goal of human form of life. Some way or the other, the background is always Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then that is laulya, that is greed. Laulyam, ekalam ulyam, janma koti sukritir na labhyate. Very beautiful. The last line is very beautiful there. You can keep doing pious activities for millions and millions of births, but it is not guaranteed that one can get love for Krishna. So this is very wonderful that somehow or other we have this inclination for Krishna Katha, and that is what Srila Prabhupada, the 7 purposes that we discussed, is the whole 7 purpose is around that remembrance of Krishna. Always, constantly one remembers Krishna, and constantly when there is remembrance of Krishna, automatically everything becomes auspicious. There is no inauspiciousness anywhere. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarine Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Krishne Matirastu Hare Krishna. So if there is any comments or questions, we can discuss.
You were mentioning there about lowering that's very, very strong desire for Krishna. Why is it that we don't have that strong desire? And we have a strong desire for something else? What is it, and how can we change that? Because it's theoretically that sounds great, Okay, I'll just transfer my desire for these things into lowly, and then I'll get Krishna. But practically, how does that work? Because if you could all do that, we just do it overnight. But it's not. And
Yes.
if we want to do it, it doesn't seem to happen so quickly.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Prabhu. It's a good question, and it's not. The laulyam is an internal state of existence. It is not. Of course, it can get manifested externally as well, but the primary existence of laulyam is internal. So, what does it mean? It is that there could be some person who might not externally have manifested lots and lots of things, but they are purely in love with Krishna, and they actually, no one possibly knows about them as well. So I think the challenge that we have in this material world is everything is kind of measured from external success. So externally, if something is great, then everyone says, "Oh, this is really great," because we are only seeing the external. In this material world, everything is based on what I'm grossly seeing here, and externally, if that is seen, then Of course, internally we don't know what is happening. Internally, possibly it is because Laulyam is there, the external manifestation has happened, or possibly the Laulyam has started to develop, and then external manifestation has happened. Because one is in different stages, like we have this Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So the different 9 stages reaching to Prema. So we can be in different stages in that journey. But I think the important thing is, if we have that iota of Shraddha, I think that is the most important thing. I think if we don't, it does not need to be, because that iota will guarantee that it will become 100%. Because that is the only, once we have started this journey, the only thing that is going to happen is we are going to complete it. There is no doubt in it. Krishna gives that. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Krishna says that, oh Arjuna, you declare it on my behalf that my devotee shall never get vanquished. Because so sometimes there might be some, because this material energy is so strong, there could be lots and lots of different challenges that happen. But Krishna gives guarantee that that one will get to the end of that Laulyam. So hopefully I have been able to say something about that, Prabhu. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you know, it was one of the Goswamis who said, unless you appear before me, Lord Chaitanya, I'm going to commit suicide. I don't remember which one. So he went to walking to the Ganges, and he meant that he was going to commit suicide. And Lord Chaitanya appeared to him, and he said, you can't, your body belongs to me, I want to speak many things. Which Goswami was that?
I don't remember that moment.
But that mentality could be there, saying, look, I don't know much about this, Krishna, but unless you help me and appear before me, I don't want to live. That would be a little bit of some sort of helpful. It's a bit strange, but
Yeah, but that has to be natural. It should not be artificial. I think that's important to understand. It has to naturally come. And this is again another challenge that we have in this material world. Things could be artificial. The biggest thing that we have is artificial intelligence now. It has taken over the whole world at the moment. The natural intelligence has started losing its meaning now. So, yeah, but that is the nature of this world. I think it's artificial, and the fact that artificial intelligence is getting so much importance nowadays shows very clearly the unfortunate artificial nature of this world. It's not natural. Natural is something that is when we are in a natural state, it is called sahaj. And natural means sahaj. Sahaj means it feels we can be in that state eternally. Artificial states, what happens is it comes and goes. It never stays with us forever. Natural state is something we are in that state always. The challenge is that because of that false ego, I think that I'm not in that state. So all this activity that we are doing, engaging in Krishna consciousness, what is happening? The covering that is existing is getting removed. So then I will know that this state is always the state that I am in. It is a false ego that is kind of stopping me from realizing that I am always in that state. So that is why ahankara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate. Krishna says that a person with a sense of false ego thinks that I am doing it. But actually, the only thing that we are doing is we are in relationship with Krishna. In our being, when we are in the being, that is why human being, we have got this word. Why is it being? We don't say human doing. There is no word called human doing. It is human being. Why is it? Because that is a natural state. Doing is something that is part of this bodily existence. But being is that existence where one is constantly in relationship with Krishna. That is what Krishna says, Mama eva amsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna says that all the living entities are eternally my part and parcels. It's not that at one point of time we become part and parcel and then we lose that part and parcel relationship. No, eternally. But what happens is manaha shashtani indriyani. When I identify myself with the five senses and the mind, the sixth sense, mind is called the sixth sense, prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati is struggle. Immediately the struggle in this material world starts. When I think that, when I identify myself with the five senses and the mind. But if we know that we are the being, we never are born, and because of that we'll never die, then we are always in relationship with Krishna. Yes?
So obviously, like, I think as we are growing as people and humans, we're all getting a sense of how vast Bhagavad Gita is, right? And it captures the essence of Krishna in like different forms, ways, and teachings. Obviously, it's so hard to know it all and read it all, and people just live and die and don't get a hold of it, right? So what are like the 4 or 5 verses, if any, that you think capture the essence of Krishna consciousness or Krishna's teaching that everyone needs to be aware of?
Yes, so there is Chatushloki Gita, the 4 seed verses of Bhagavad Gita, 10.8, 9, 10 and 11. Chapter 10, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Krishna says that Aham sarvasya prabha, everything is emanating from me. Matta sarvam pravartate, everything is operating because of Krishna. Iti matva, one who knows this, bhajante mam, engages in loving devotional service of Krishna. Who is that person? Buddha. He is an intelligent person. How does he engage in devotional service? Bhava samanvita, with full emotions. Because that is the only thing that we can give to the Lord. Nothing else, everything is Lord's. Bhava grahi janardana. It is mentioned, Murkham vadati Vishnaya, Dhiram vadati Vishnave, Ubhayasa samam punyam, bhava grahi janardana. So sometimes some people would not know how to say mantras properly. So instead of saying Om Vishnave Namaha, they might say Om Vishnaya Namaha. Om Vishnaya Namaha is wrong. Om Vishnave Namaha is right. But that particular verse is saying that it does not matter. The important thing is what is the emotion, whether one is actually surrendered or not. Ubhayam cha samam punyam bhava grahi janardana. There is this very wonderful story where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking to this illiterate farmer. And he is looking at the book of Bhagavad Gita and crying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, why are you crying? And he says that, I see this picture where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is acting as a charioteer of Arjuna. And whenever I think about this, tears automatically starts coming from my eyes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, do you have understood Bhagavad Gita? So it is not knowledge. It is not knowledge. Jnanvan mam prapadyate. So the end of Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate. So the main thing is surrender onto Krishna. That is the main thing, not knowledge. Knowledge is good in the beginning because that is helping us to understand what is our nature and what is the whole existence we understand. But in the end, it is surrender, prapadyante, prapatti. So yeah, so that is then Machitta Madgat Prana, the second verse is that is actually mentioned, that is indirectly mentioning gopis there. They are constantly thinking about Krishna. Their whole life is dedicated to Krishna. Madgat Prana. Bodhayanta Parasparam. Talking to Krishna. Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. They are constantly talking about Krishna. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. With full satisfaction and with full bliss. They are talking. Then Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadhami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayanti Te. Tesham evanu kampartham aham ajnanajam tama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. So basically what Krishna is saying there is, when one is satata yuktanam, when one is constantly remembering Krishna, priti purvakam, with lots of love, dadhami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna says, I give them the intelligence through which they can come to me. Then tesham evanu kampartham, I give them the costless mercy. Aham ajnanajam tama. Because this is what, when the whole existence in this material world is darkness of ignorance. So Krishna lights that lamp of knowledge. Nashyami Atma Bhavasto. What is that lamp? Atma Bhava. This understanding of my eternal nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Jnana Deepena Bhasvata, the knowledge of lamp, the lamp of knowledge, that is lighted. So those are the four, if you want to learn the most important part of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you.
So just kind of following on from the previous question that I asked, it's also, you can try to get lowly in somehow or the other, but actually, those two verses that you just quoted, Krishna is actually,
Exactly.
he's kind of gives you that knowledge.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. 100% true, yeah. And that is, again, that is internal. It is all internal at the end of the day. External, yeah. Externals are important, but more important is internals. Because our existence, like for example, we never see the soul, right? We only see the body in this material world. But we know that soul exists. And that is internal. So the internals are never seen in this material world. That is something that is directly the relationship between Krishna and his bhakta. No one else can know that actually. Okay.
Prabhu ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So next we have Anfota Prabhu here. He'll be asking 2 questions and we'll be giving away the gift prize as Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Firstly, I want to thank my god brother who's come to give the talk today. And
Right.
thank you, Babaji. Thank you. I'll start with. I'm always told that I always ask difficult questions, but there are people here who are very good. Here's one of them. Okay. I'll take the easy question first. How many ages are there?
How many?
How many yugas are there? Oh. Can you name them and give me the duration of each yuga?
Now comes the tough part.
Each question.
Satya,
Yeah.
Dwapar, Treta, Kali. I don't know the duration exactly, but Satya is the biggest
Well,
one.
you gave 3, but you didn't.
Satya, Treta,
Yeah.
Kali, Dwapar.
Yeah.
Ah,
And Kali Yuga.
ah.
Now give me the duration of each of them.
Don't know about the durations, but Satya is the biggest one and Kali is the smallest.
Anybody can give the duration of each? Yes, please.
Kali Yoga is 432,000 years.
Very good.
Then 432 times 2, and then times 4, and then times 8.
That's it. That's how you work it out.
Yeah.
Know the first one first,
Yes.
and then multiply by 2,
Yeah.
3, and 4. Now you know that now? Right? So what's Satya Yuga then?
Quick math.
Yeah. Into 8. Kali into 8. 4.
4 times Kali Yuga. What is it?
How can I multiply it?
You don't know? What's 4 times 432?
There it is.
Okay, 1728. Okay? 1728. I think, Mataji, do you mind if I give him the book?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Haribo.
That's an easier question, not that one. The difficult is the harder one. How many avatars are there? How many have appeared and how many avatars are there? You must name them and you must give them function, name and what they came to do. Or shall why did they come? Who knows all of them and know why they came?
Countless. Countless, and they come for Dharma Samsthapanartha.
Haribo.
Yes, correct answer.
Anupata Guru confused.
There are 10 avatars. One of them has not come here yet. So you have to give the other 9 and what they came to do and also why they came. Why they came.
Ask someone else, Prabhu.
Yes. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Any
Take
of
them in the
that?
order. And if you take them in the order, it's very easy.
You can try.
Try.
Go ahead.
Just try random, Go. You can see one over there.
Yes.
There's the one I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Vamana,
Mm-hmm.
Parashurama,
Mm-hmm.
Rama, Krishna, someone say Balram, someone say Buddha, and Kalki.
Nice.
Okay.
Narasimha.
Very good.
Miss Narasimha.
Yeah.
There's one more try.
But the last one is
Kalki.
Kalki. But there's one difference in the avatar, in the line of avatar. If Balaram is included in the line of the avatar, so that's the Krishna avatar. If Krishna is included in the line of avatar, then that is Vishnu avatar. That's the difference. Okay? So Krishna is the line. So here's this, come and collect it, please.
Haribo!
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So just be seated for 2 minutes and then we'll all rise for Aarti.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is Atul is here, is he?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So we have a very big event coming this day, 2 weeks. Actually, this day, 2 weeks, the event will be over. So it's happening very, very soon. And you know what it is? Awesome, good. You should know that. You should know songs. But yeah, we're advertising it like anything. So I want you to let everybody know to come to that festival because it's so important. Anyone who sees Lord Jagannath going through the town will be instantly liberated. There's such a powerful thing, and it's being backed by the government, like the Lord Mayor is there, the Indian embassy's there, and so many different leaders will be there. So it's a very important festival. Like it's starting at 12 o'clock, but if you can, just come for the whole festival. Like it starts at 12, but be there by 10:30 in the Garden of Remembrance. And everyone know where the Garden of Remembrance is? Anyone know? Garden of Remembrance is up in Parnell Square. It's right. Well, if you go there by 10:30, you won't miss it. There's a big cart, it'll be right billowing in the air, so you'll know you're in the right place.
From the very end, you go to the very end of that street, Upper Street.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be coming all the way. If you're a little bit late, but don't be late. But it'll go down O'Connell Street and then it'll make its way all around to Marion Square. And it's going to be a huge festival because we're cooking for at least 2,000 people.
Haribo.
Maybe even more.
Haribo.
We're still open though for some. We need some sponsorship for Prashad, for the stage, and what's that, the stage? There's
The chariot.
The chariots. Sorry, yeah. We're bringing the chariots over from the UK, and that's even got more expensive now to do that. So we are looking at everyone can sponsor for that. You'll see that there's a barcode on the Rath Yatra there. If you just click onto that code, or also we have any other way. Atul Prabhu, yeah. If you just come to Atul as well, you'll be downstairs. That's Atul over here. And you can just make a quick donation or something. But it's only 2 weeks to go, and it's looking. We do need a little bit more sponsorship just to make sure that this goes ahead. There will be something that will be on the day. People can make a donation then. But we're quite short now, and there's looking at the insurance as well. Because to do that, there's big insurance on that too, and we need to pay that beforehand. So there's lots of things like that. So if everyone can help with that, it'd be great. But most importantly, tell everybody. Because anybody who sees the card in that day is going to go back to the spiritual world. That's what it says. That's in all the Shastra. I'm sure my good friend Sanatan Goswami could give me a Shastra quote about the Yatra. Do you know one?
Yeah, Rathe cha vamanam drishva punarjanmana vidyate.
Go on, say it and translate it, please.
Rathe cha vamanam drishva punarjanmana vidyate. It means when we see the Lord on the chariot, we do not get another material birth. So,
Thank you. She verified that one. So that's awaiting for us. So please, on that day, it's in 2 weeks' time, and just tap a little bit on one of the, or get one of the barcodes, and Atul will be downstairs.
Yeah,
Probably at the
so
upper
just
side.
in case if anybody faces any issue,
Exactly. That's
making a
right.
donation today,
Yeah.
they can reach out to me and I can help them.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now we will rise for the
Yeah. So if you could all just rise for Gaurati now.
Rise.
Mic one.
Thank you.
चंद्राजिनी बदन उज्ज्वला Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Brahmacharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Brahmacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem Singh Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Chamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Vrindavan ki Jai. Mayapur ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. Yamuna Mai ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Rihat Madanga Transcendental Book Distribution ki, ISKCON Ireland ki, Go Premanande! All glories to the assembled devotees! All glories to the assembled devotees! All glories to the assembled devotees! All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga!
You could all just sit down for lesson prayers.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste
Dev Bhagwan ki jai, Krishna Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Gaura Pramanande.
So we have small kirtan. You can go downstairs for prasadam. Those who want to wait, don't wait for too long. You can stay back for kirtan.